Hello, I'm 0x and I'm here in a test world that I have prepared to demonstrate you the tool I've created for generating the random gateway portals. In my previous video, I have shown that it is possible to generate a random gateway portal and glitch it out in a way that it generates another gateway portal that can send you back to the first portal. So you can, depending on where the first portal is, it can even send you to the world border if you want. But you first have to reach the world border. Yeah, so I made a tool, and here it is. And using that tool, you can actually spawn in your own portals. Those yellow areas here are areas where the game actually can spawn portals. Those areas depend on the seed, so let's change the world seed. You can see the yellow areas are changing, but the chunks that you need to set the seed for the portal to actually spawn, those do not depend on the seed. So if I change the seed, all those chunks will be in the exactly same position. But the areas where the game can spawn the portal will change. So let's use this, for example, this chunk here as a seed. This chunk has the coordinates 54, 44. And when I use this portal as a seed, then it will spawn the portal. When I use this chunk as a seed, did I say portal? Yeah, it will spawn the portal in the southeast of the population area. So population area is the center of our 2x2 chunks. There are two chunks here, and if I use this population area here, it will actually spawn the portal in the southeast of that. So that would be here. It will spawn the portal at the chunk relative coordinates x equals 7 and z equals 3, and at height 10 above the highest the highest non-transparent block. So let's see, 7.3 and the southeast was southeast is here, and 7.3 is here, right here. No, one block over. So this is our ground, and let's go 10 blocks up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops. 10. So if this is the ground block, the game will try to spawn the portal at this height, at this position in the population area. Maybe a little reminder on how the chunk population works. So when the game first loads a 2x2 of chunks, so all of those chunks are loaded at the same time. For the first time, it will try to generate some stuff here in the center. In the 16x16 area here in the center, it will, for example, try to place AND gateways, random AND gateways. Those usually lead you to the Obsidian platform. But you can manipulate that so they don't do that and send you to the near edge of the outer end islands, which is about 1,000 blocks away. So 1,000 blocks from here, from the center island, you can have a portal that takes you to the world border if you want. So yeah, that's actually how to use this tool. This tool is a work in progress, and you can type in commands here, and for example, go to 100, 100, and it will send you there. So you don't have to scroll all the way. And you can set the seed. But that's pretty much everything it can do right now. It's a work in progress, and it's just barely that far that it's useful. So if it's still a little bit buggy, yeah, then it is. It's a work in progress. I will link this tool in the video description, so you can go there and use it yourself. So yeah, now to the little demonstration I have prepared. In the previous video I explained it a little bit how the flying machine works, but I'm not sure if that was really a good explanation. So let's focus on the really important part of the flying machine, which is this extension. This extension here gets pulled in, so it stops exactly at the chunk border here. Wouldn't matter if it got a little bit further, but I'm just stopping that at the chunk border. That's just fine. The really important part is that there is a piston here that will pull this extension. It only works with a pulling piston. That is exactly the same mechanism that is also used for the pig spawners. Of course, this only works in 1.12 and maybe 1.11. So don't even try to use this in 1.13 or later versions. It just won't work. But if you're still playing in 1.12, you can actually generate such portals. And yeah, that's the important part about this extension. When this extension is pushed in, it will generate this chunk and this chunk. Those two chunks are not loaded and not generated yet, so this area will not be populated yet. The next part that the flying machine that I've shown in the previous video pushes in is this part, or a pretty similar looking part. That will, pushing this in will, yeah, this chunk is already loaded, but it will also generate and load this chunk here. So when the flying machine is coming in, it will have loaded this chunk, and this chunk. This chunk is still not yet generated, so this area won't populate yet. Now we can't just load this area right away. If we do so, then it will populate this area, and then it will not spawn a portal, or if this portal is actually a chunk that sets the seed to spawn a portal, then it will just spawn the portal, but it will just be a normal random gateway portal, and we can't do anything with it. So what happens next is this area here gets some time to get unloaded by the game. At the next autosave, all of those 3 chunks unload and are not loaded anymore. And later, another flying machine comes in and pushes this extension by 1 block. And this way, this chunk gets loaded, this chunk gets loaded, and this chunk gets loaded because this moving block here actually generates a block update in this position. So we have this chunk loaded, this chunk loaded, this chunk just generated and is loaded. So what I'm usually doing is I choose a position where this chunk is actually the chunk that sets the seed. So I don't have to bother with another flying machine that goes to a different chunk. But with just one more flying machine, it's possible to generate the random gateway portals in almost any position you like, as long as it's in a chunk where the game actually tries to generate one. So yeah, the status, this chunk is loaded, this chunk is loaded, and this chunk is loaded. This chunk is not loaded anymore because we gave it some time to unload. So now we have all of those 4 chunks generated, but the center is not populated yet. So the next thing will be, either if this chunk was not a portal seed chunk, then I need to generate a portal seed chunk somewhere else. And once that happened, the last step is to just tell this piston to pull. And then what the piston does, it will what this piston does, it will just make a list of blocks that it needs to pull. So it will start looking here. Yeah, this is a block it can pull. And there are some blocks attached, so it will remember all those blocks. It will remember this block, then it looks here, remembers to pull this block, and so on, and so on, and so on. And it reaches here, and it remembers to pull this block. Then it goes further, and then it reaches the chunk border. And now it needs to load this chunk in order to check if there is a block here that either needs to be pulled or you could say pushed because it's moving into that direction, or if there is a block that is blocking the movement. So if that happens, it loads this chunk. Then this 2x2 area is completed. The chunk population happens. And our tool showed us that it will actually try to generate a portal here. The glass block is transparent, so it doesn't count, but it will try to generate a portal above the ground here, which is this solid block down here, 10 blocks above, which is exactly this green glass block. And now the game will have remembered to push this block. But this block changed into a different block, so it will now just pull or push that different block. And that is how the AND gateway is glitched out. And it is in this weird state where it can generate another AND gateway portal leading back to this portal here that just generated. So let's go back to the tool. We already selected a portal seed chunk. Let's just use any other chunk. Whatever, we could, for example, use this area here. So this is chunk 82,116. There's another tool that I made together with XCOM and Earth Computer that is in Carpet Mod, chunk debug tool true. And you can use it for seeing which chunks are getting loaded. What happens to the chunks in the game? Are they loaded? Are they getting loaded? Are they getting unloaded? And it also has a mini map. So which chunk was that we wanted to use? 82,116. 82,116. Okay, now that the mini-map is centered on the chunk we want to use, I also need the coordinates of the chunk, which is 1,312. And the x coordinate is 1,856. Just checking, the seed is set to 1, so that's the correct one. Let's use an arbitrary height of 100 and change those command blocks to actually put this the structure over there instead of here. So now with the chunk debug tool, you can see the thing actually happening that I described earlier. So if I spawn on the first extension, you can see those two chunks, and they unloaded immediately because of the autosave, which was just happening, which doesn't matter in this case. So let's put in the next extension. And now 3 chunks are loaded, and now I need to wait another few game ticks for the next autosave to happen. Or I can make it happen faster. Okay, now it just unloaded. Now I can move that extension, which generates the last chunk in the 2x2. And now let's generate a portal seed chunk. Oh, it's not in the map. Maybe if we zoom out, here it is. And now we need to move the last extension, and that caused this area to get populated. Yeah, this tool also shows you stack traces and reasons for why chunks are being loaded and unloaded. So, but that's not really needed for this demonstration. So now it unloaded again, but it was populated already. So let's just TP over there. Where are my flying machines? Here are my flying machines. And you can see it spawned a portal here. So yeah, this demonstration only works with carpet mod because of the structure command that I used, but generating those portals definitely works in vanilla too. So you just need a flying machine, and it's boring to do that in creative mode anyways, because you can just use commands to set block the portal if you like. But yeah, you can do this in survival vanilla and generate a portal there. And if you go through this portal, it will send you to the outer end islands. So you can see the coordinates. We are about 1000 blocks from the center island. And it just generated in this portal here. When I go through here, I'm back out here at 1300 and 2000. So yeah. So yeah, I will put the link to the tool in the video description, so you can actually use that tool yourself and generate portals like this. What's not included in this tool yet is a way to schedule the flying machine. So if you go a really long way, a lot longer way than this here, but if you go a few million blocks out, or even if you go 10,000s of blocks out, then you will have the problem that there are some priority 0 chunks. So most of them are on the world diagonal, but some of them are also in different places. And your flying machine will at some point in time run into them, and you just I just wrote a scheduler to make sure that that doesn't happen while the autosave is occurring. So yeah, but that's not yet included in the tool. In this tool at least, yeah, I can't really release the other tool I have. It's really terrible to use, but I will work on including that as well at a later point in time. But as far as this tool is now, you can actually use it to generate a portal and use the flying machine that I showed earlier to glitch it out in a way that you get a portal to return to there. So yeah, and that's what I've been doing on the Prototech server in the previous months. The goal was to reach the world border and generate a portal that goes to the world border. So let's hop on the Prototech server and see how far that project is right now. So hey, now I'm here on the Prototech server, and yeah, this is still my my base of operations with the timing devices. I'll need to make a video about them at some point in time, and also explain how all of this stuff here works together, because I really rushed it in the previous video. But yeah, let's say what the progress is. Let's see what the progress is. I obviously made this place look a little bit nicer than it used to be. And I built some farm over there and some other random stuff here, but that's not what I want to show right now. So yeah, let's go through this gateway portal, which sends us to the area where there previously was the old Dragon XP farm that Ray made. Really awesome stuff that was here. Sad that I had to remove some of it, but yeah, there's no other place to put this than here. Anyways, yeah, this is the portal that leads back. You can see I removed the bedrock from almost all portals except the ones that spawned in last, but I will have to do that as well. That is just to be able to to spawn those portals into specific positions. If I just leave the bedrock, then they will just be stacked on top of each other until they reach the height limit, which was not something I wanted. So yeah, this portal leads back. This is the first portal that ever got generated back last year. And this was 2.9 million blocks out in the west direction. Yeah, there are some other random gateway portals, but mainly this is how the flying machine looked when it arrived. And what I did here is I built a mechanism for the signal to reach here. I put a dispenser here with a rail on top, and I just sent a minecart with this with a portal on the other side in order to send a signal over here. There, of course, there was a 5x5 hopper loader down there, which is now gone, I think. Yeah, and that signal has been used to start the next flying machine, which I built down here, which is now also long gone and has reached its destination, and I'm going to show that later. So yeah, this was the first ever portal that spawned, and it's at 2.9 million blocks out. Oops. Ouch. Yeah, that happens all the time here. So yeah, this is the west direction, which is the most successful one. You can see I've spawned in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 portals. And how far we got with this one, I'm showing you at the end. But first, let's go see the opposite direction, the east one, which wasn't as successful as this one. So on the east direction, there were a lot more failures. So obviously, I'm trying to reach the world border in all 4 directions, and whichever side reaches it first wins, I guess. So yeah, this was the site where we had the most failures. So you can see only 3 portals generated here. Let's go to the last one. This is the flying machine that just arrived, and you see I didn't start building the next one yet. And you can see this extension here with a portal. Yeah, I placed some blocks afterwards to get out of here again. Yeah, the flying machine, the 2 flying machines basically crashed into each other, and that's how it stopped at the exact right position. So yeah, as I said, the eastern direction is the one with the most failures, which was very annoying. Let's have a look at those failures, shall we? They are all through this portal. It's really terrible. Oh, by the way, I removed all of this terrain here with the TNT duper, just because I thought this might be useful for something. Yeah. But as you can see, there's not just one launch platform here, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Yeah. Well, let's say some flying machine that I started didn't arrive at their destination. So that was the first launch platform I built over there. Yeah. This one was the really most stupid failure. Oh, no, not this one yet. But the first one was, it was failing because the last flying machine, there was a mistake and it didn't start, and then because the last flying machine is used to catch up on the first flying machine and stop it, the flying machine never got stopped and overshoot its destination and went on flying until we restarted the server. And now it's frozen out there somewhere. I could still reuse this pad afterwards, so I sent another flying machine, and that one was really the worst stupid thing ever. I basically killed the server, so that also killed all the other flying machines in the other directions. That was not very fun. That was totally my fault, and it was very frustrating. But what happened afterwards was even more frustrating. Then I raised this up because now the flying machine didn't overshoot its destination. It was stuck somewhere between here and the destination, so I had to build another flying machine, the next flying machine higher up. And this time, when I started that one, the server crashed because it went out of memory. So for the next run, for that to not happen anymore, we increased the RAM of the server, and it now has I think it had 6 gigabytes before, and now it has 8 or 9. And then I sent off this flying machine, and this flying machine just randomly was off by a few blocks when it stopped. That also happened in one other direction, I think. And I don't really know why. I think it might have something to do with that setup I showed earlier, with a minecart going through the gateway portal, having some random delay. I have not figured that out yet, but it happens so rarely that I didn't really bother with it yet. If it happens more often, then I will need to figure out why that happens. So because this now actually populated the chunks that I was going for, even if it was yeah, even if it was off by a few blocks, it still generated those chunks, and I could that location that I was trying to use here wasn't available anymore, so I had to find a different location, and that's when I built this here, and that one finally arrived. That was so frustrating, this site, but yeah, still on this side we got over 6 million blocks out yet. Okay, I got through this time. So yeah, this is as far as we got here. Oh no, it's not 6, it's 8.5 million blocks out. So even if it failed a few times, and even if it was really frustrating, this site still got 8 million blocks out. Those ender pearls sometimes are weird. Okay, so this is the next location. There we got, this is the portal that leads back to the main end island. Then we've got 1, 2, 3 portals here and 1 portal over there that I moved as far out as possible. You can see it flashing there. That one is used for end mob switch. So we send a lot of Enderman from this side to the other side of the portal. I can't go through there right now because if I were to go through this portal here, then it would then I would need to refill the mob switch. That wouldn't be very great. There are about 700 Enderman in there. So yeah, this portal was really useful to use, and there's no way any other player will reach that place by just accidentally going there, because it's a few million blocks out. So that was really the perfect place for a mob switch, and that's where we put it. Okay, so the furthest we got out here on this direction is 12.5 million blocks out. Yeah, pretty nice. Let's see at the other directions. Yeah, get up here again. This here is the portal that leads back. I always mark them with white glass. This is the north direction. And yeah, this one had as many failures as the east one, but it got a little bit further. This was the other direction that failed because of that random flying machine being off by a few blocks, and this one still managed to go 9.6 million blocks out. And now off to the last portal. Yeah, I was here before, but I didn't want to show it yet. So yeah, that portal over there is the furthest we've got so far. And we are at 15.9 million blocks. And that is over half the way to the world border, which is a really exciting milestone. So yeah, we're half the way to the world border, and in a few months we will hopefully get there. I have some optimizations in mind for future flying machines. So in the meantime, faster flying machines were discovered. So yeah, I was already using the fastest flying machines that we had at the time. Ouch! Oh my gosh, my flying skills, terrible. Yeah, so this here, before it broke, was a 4.4 blocks per second engine, and this is a 3.3 blocks per second engine. By the time I designed this was the fastest you could go, I think. But now there are some awesome discoveries that were made, and you can get a 5 blocks per second flying machine, and I'm thinking about ways to actually use them. It's really hard to put extensions on the 4.4 one. If I use the 5 blocks per second one, then I will need to use that as the flying machine that catches up on the slower one. The slower one will be the 4.4 one, and it's not very simple to put extensions to this 4.4 flying machine. The nice thing with this flying machine here is that it's really easy to customize. So when the portal is in a different location, like I showed earlier with the tool, that it can be in almost any location in the chunk. Yeah, it can be in any locations, in any height. So this flying machine I can very easily change, so it just uses the correct. It just pushes at the correct block. So I can just move this extension over here by a few blocks or in the other direction, and then it will generate a portal there. Yeah, but with the faster flying machines, I won't be able to do that. So I won't just be able to change them freely. So I have an idea on how to get around that, but yeah, that's still for the future. For the next step, I will again build one of those flying machines, but while those are running, and those run for about 2 weeks, so we also have to keep the server online for 2 weeks without any interruptions. And I also need an AFK account or multiple AFK accounts here from different logged in from different locations. So if one loses the connection, then the other one won't. Of course, the AFK account is not on the flying machine. That would create a ridiculous amount of chunks. But yeah, this is how far we got. Half the way to the world border, and that's pretty exciting. And I'll see you anytime I make another update video on this. So, bye.